Welcome to our lovely future humans and our 5D collective. On this full moon, I'm going to share with you a little bit of, wait for it. If you're new, you don't know. So we're going to have a journal prompt for those of you who journal or do mindset practices so that you can contemplate it. We're moving into our new theme. So that's emotional immaturity and leadership. What do they do? Well, we're not going to talk about them alone. We're going to talk about those differences. So they're validating, seeking, they're ego protecting, they continue to grow together like the flat earthers do, and they get defensive when you present to them constructive food for thought. And they also argue with the handful of objective truths that are out there, but reality is there's an inability to tolerate discomfort from their body, and they're leading with their brain's default mode network in helplessness. So actively their story wins, their feelings are fear-based in an unhealthy way, and their dysregulation is not something that affects us. Because self-agents, so when you have a self and you're a steady self, your image doesn't change. You don't change, you expand. That's where we're at. So you know your charges like I know mine, triggers like I know mine, old patterns, they're not going to ever go away, but you are able to work with your personality patterns and temperament. And that's why the PayHip journal prompts, the PDFs, and the lovely mindset practices support emotionally intelligent people. So, like on every full moon or new moon or any of those ascension events, we get to bring more of ourselves forth. Dharma, welcome aboard, people. And I use words in a lot of different ways, so please do be advised. People who don't know how to have fun with words tend to not be flexible. And they tend to have this left that wants to control everything and that doesn't like that A, B, C, D, E, F, G touch each other. Which is why my facade friend, who's a hypocrite, because he's a fako, called me a hypocrite. So when people think they're logical because they're only using the left, they're illogical because their inconsistent patterns will come forth and I will notice them validating only what they like, also hanging around only those who validate them, and they will have emotions that are completely unreasonable and they won't take ever ownership of them, and they continue to learn to be more rigid. And those are the people who are also saying that they have all the answers. So they actually don't notice that a complex system, which every person is, doesn't have a perfect formula, but there is one solution to a life that has complete fulfillment, purpose, and that's here. It's you. So when you have a self and it's yours and you're an image that you can look yourself in the mirror, use your name. Spiritual mystics, we're not bypassers because we have discernment, equanimity, and know that there's no evil in the body of people. The word is used from philosophical religious textbooks to indicate that which is an unhealthy and more pattern of that which is called human suffering. Those who don't like explanation hang around people who say lack of imagination for evil. They don't know that the dark sides of neuroplasticity is theirs, and they're using imagination, and their disconnect from their own body makes me know all of their story from their 0-8-year-old, which is sickening to say the least, saddening to say the most, and not infuriating because God never gives his children more than what they can handle, and there's no monster inside of any one of them. There's their childhood. So the bright sides of neuroplasticity, that's why you're here. And you'll keep coming back, and we inspire human potential. Love breeds leaders. Love breeds humility, and sometimes we sound like judgmental assholes and jerks, and that's okay. We work with it. I'm working with right now. Humility means you're on the floor. Humility means you know you can be right and wrong. Humility means you're flawed, imperfect. You're not trying to be perfect. Intelligence means you know a certain amount of things, and some might know more. When you meet fake confidence, you're like, shit, knee-jerk reaction. And then you say, wait, let me differentiate and recalibrate. So for this lovely full moon, you get to know about restoring balance. It's a pink moon, or that's what they're calling it. Fostering harmony in relationships. Initiating emotional and spring-inspired renewal. How fun. So you can add to your journal prompts this question if you'd like, or contemplate it. What happens when I increase flexibility as I soften control or resistance? I'm going to add what happens when I increase the pause as I notice my charged emotions. Like for me, as I've gotten into the nice habit of feeling so comfortable with my community to bring it all on. So the channeled guidance and food for thought, wait for it. Those who wear masks can take them off. It is not up to you to take off the mask of emotional, immature individuals. Their control is their blanket, and it's a comfortable one. They are afraid of life. That's because they're afraid of humans. That's because somewhere down their own journey, we don't know where, shit went down. Okay, so this is one thing. I saw a guy, I'm not even going to talk about it, 3D, 4D, doing what they do best. But I recognize when I was taught by my good Christian Catholic catechist how they said God doesn't give his children more than what they can handle, and that means more than what would overwhelm your nervous system. So when you're meeting 0-8-year-olds who have non-metabolized trauma time and they're playing it on a wheelhouse, you can't feel sorry for them in a way of disrespecting their free will choice. You can understand why Robert Sapolsky with his book Determined says they have no free will, and then you can understand why a bunch of other people who lack free will think so. I know of free will because I'm choosing to have the word free will. And I'm choosing to let you know we can pause. Now, there is no perfection that I'm seeking, though. This is why life is fun. You do not seek perfection out of yourself. You seek to do the best you can in every single moment that you can with the perspective you have. And those who don't like to hear that, they're rigid. They want control. They automatically are defensive, and they automatically are arrogant. And that's why it's not confidence. It's obtuseness. And their obtuseness, or however you use that word, is their left brain, which is why now I'm not really in a conversation. I'm just with a person who's in a defensive posture, validating their own story. So those who are flexible, it's flexibility because you like to learn and you like to talk and you like differences and you're not defensive. Those who are defending their position, when it's quantitative analysis, there's a handful of truths, and they can continue to do research thanks to those who are curious. The qualitative researchers should really understand how qualitative works, and that's why it would be great to have more of that, which are intellectually intelligent human beings in academia, so that we can have a good time as we seek more information versus what the ones who are seeking because they're unsure, because they want to prove themselves. Masks are performers. Their fear-based mannerisms are completely obvious to those who have confidence, and we don't want to be around them. When people get moody and they don't have the capacity to stay joyful and empowered and pleasant, we don't want to be around them. And that's because they get nasty, quote unquote. So when I increase flexibility, as I soften the edge, as I soften control, as I soften resistance, or the pause, you will learn how to harness those emotional charges. And or if you're working to release control, eventually you'll release it completely and you'll have fun in life. The masks don't do that because they refuse to look themselves in the mirror. No, because they need therapy. No one is going to get out of their 0-3-year-old implicit memory mannerisms and patterns unless they are aware in ways that, again, I just recently got it was an email from lovely Dr. Daniel Siegel's Keep, and it's, you can learn everything you want, but if you're not able to self-regulate, and then you're not able to do a lot more, but I digress. Long story short, there's a bunch of people out there who just use the words emotional intelligence. I just saw like one with 10 signs. They use the words window tolerance, window welcome. They actively think that we all don't know what we're talking about. Well, I know some people, they know what they're talking about because they're doing it. Other people are creating groupies, and those groupies validate each other, and they just say, we are all in this boat. We are all the same. And those who are differentiated selves, 3-year-olds, are like, no, we're not. We are all different. You don't understand my body and my brain. I don't understand yours completely. I'm not going to be arrogant too. Okay, so I digress, but the motivation is different for everyone. Some people find it in bonding, and so because they want to bond, plus as a species, we're safe together. That's the other part. But those who become defensive, that's why they're emotionally immature, which means they're insecure, which reminds me of teenagers, because they don't handle rejection, they don't handle objectivity, they don't handle intellect, they don't handle anything. They just handle their mouths like my facade friend. And so they become buffoons, but you learn how to leave it alone. As a 46-year-old woman, when I see them, I leave it alone. And with that, the full moon has brought you something more as you expand yourself, as you become more of yourself. And what happens when you increase flexibility, as you soften control or resistance? Or what happens when you pause as you notice the charges come up and you're excited or really, like advocating or something, and you pause, and you're with that pause, then you're observing, and then you're learning, okay, I want to do it again. And why do you do it again? You do it again because you want to stay in your prefrontal. And so you deepen the depth of the experience of the emotion. You uncharge a charge for those who have already forgiven, because we all can make mistakes and flaws. Everything. It's easy. So you can get irritated. Why? I get irritated because I would love for every single brother and sister of mine out there, all of God's children, to get their A game on. But not everybody feels love, because not everybody got it. And not everyone feels motivated by loving themselves first, as it's a confusing letdown, as Patrick Chan points out. The ones who follow the stories, they get to become groupies like the flat earthers. The ones who follow their higher self will lead themselves to a good therapist if they need it. Once they are steady, their self-image won't be broken, and they will continue to work with their personality patterns. They don't erase them. Their triggers and their way of coping with them too, and emotional charges. And so they're not going to make up excuses. They're not going to put band-aids. They're going to, with our wellness habits, that's what we all do, little habits. I'm still doing poor with, for example, physical exercise, but I'm doing better with the diet because I know what works for me. The Nutritionist Diary. You guys haven't seen it if you're new. So you know what works to motivate you. But you're also common sense enough to know moderation is key. So as Hippocrates points out, health is a wise man's knowledge. And we all want to have fun, but again, within the proper logical mind. And so when someone says, let me live life, yes, we'll all live life in a good way. And that's why moderation is key. We'll be back with more, though. Let's remember that it's a choice. Your brain is wired to defend you. So you learn that eventually with our human secondary consciousness, the purpose of life. That's why our 8th and 9th chakra, for those of you who are mystics and spiritual, we are practicing to master it, and not in the sky kind of sense. In a human kind of sense, since I bring the human elements to the spiritual and spirituality elements. So it's fun to do that. I know there's a lot of other types of spokespeople out there for the community, but I want you to remember that the human body is what covers everything else. And so Bessel van der Kolk has a quote about that, but I forget where it's at right now. But you are human, and then, of course, the soul, the source, we're all one, but not everyone's going to get to experience the frequency because, again, they need to first access their own heart. And we access our own heart, and as we do that, let me conclude with our lovely full moon, balance and harmony, rebirth and growth, relationship reevaluation, communication turning points, emotional intensity. And so those of us who expand, we create secure connections. We don't have people that we have to get rid of, or some who are going to be dangerous to our growth. We actively take the opportunity to hang around both 5D collective and 3D 4D, and to remember to differentiate and to hug our own child parts, and then to hug those who let us hug them. And as for the comedians, we laugh with them, because healthy boundaries involves conversations. And I learned, thanks to my facade friend, not speak to someone ever again. And the only man I ever yelled at, that's just to be yourself, because that's what fake people do. They don't know how to be themselves. But again, that's for them to take a look at. And some are in different soul age groups, so there's also that from the spiritual perspective. Welcome aboard 5D Collective. Let your friends know about IHP, and that's if they enjoy all of that, which is funny. And also, we do know the people who are upset at our eustress. We would love for them to join us, because eustress is way more healthy than distress, but they have to want to be themselves under activation, and to get to be themselves, to take off this mask, meet all of who they are, then bring us their personality patterns, their temperament, and together we get to grow. personal and spiritual growth. Thanks also to real out there for the real men and real women who will come to you and become actual great, awesome partners. Like for real, don't have to be afraid of each other and, a lot of other things. So it's really nice what we will end up in the future. Those who don't have hope of humanity, their hope was shattered somewhere. Those of us who know humanity will make it. It's because we're very much knowing how pressure works. It doesn't break you. It doesn't actually reveal your fears. It reveals to us the level of self-leadership that you have. And it then also reveals to us if you know self-regulation or not. And it's not a competition. So everybody has different journeys. I have been doing this since I was a kid. I was a 3-year-old and said, you can't spank me. It's in my body. And I corrected the biological father of mine. After the 3rd time, he called me the wrong name. And I have a twin. And I'm the boss to one of the two. My entire environment was made for me to be Maria. So temperament, again, it's always here, which is why she's really the ruler, the 3-year-old. But I'm trying to say, okay, but we want all people to feel welcome. So let's not be like those 14-month-olds with that study where they play nice with the teddy bear that likes the same cereal we do, emotionally intelligent people, and then is cold and mean to the teddy bear that likes the cereal we don't like. And then again, we don't have to be friends with everyone, even if we say we love everyone. So there are strangers that we never become friends with. And this is somebody that I gave the cold shoulder to, but it's because my men friend said I couldn't give mixed messages. Because I'm polyamory, you know what I mean? So that's confusing. And I'm a mystic, and that's confusing. And I have twin flames, and that apparently everything about whoever you are is going to be confusing. And actually, it's hilarious because they are followers. So they follow each other around and make assumptions. I have one of a story way back when. It was, my friends told me you liked me because you fed me French fries. I just fed you French fries because I was being nice. I actively didn't like you. But hey, a relationship came out of it. I know a soul sister thanks to it. And there you go. But I'm just saying, people who assume things based on yesterday's news, we all have affective realism. So our feelings, that they feel so strong that we think they're facts, whatever we're thinking, which is why it is a two-way street life. So subjective reality. That's also why we don't make fun of the comics, because we want them to feel loved. Emotionally immature people are afraid, and so they want control because that's how they are comforted. And when the left takes over, the dark sides of neuroplasticity, and that's the validation seeking, the ego. So there's a really great video by Nut Show Lady with another lady who give you a way to be able to work with it. But at the end of the day, if you are a person who sees life with love and compassion and remembers that we're all an embodied brain, you just know when you meet a 0-8-year-old who has non-metabolized trauma time, not going to look pretty. When you meet a 0-8-year-old who's present because their grown-up is leading, you're going to have a good time. And they're going to be intellectually savvy, and spiritual or not, they're going to have a good time with all of it, because we know that we are made to thrive. Oh, and it's also the self-leadership era, because the 5D collective is here. Love is here to stay. While unhealthy fear, dysregulation, this stress is not healthy. I'm just saying, like, it's something that we'll continue talking about. In the meantime, thanks for stopping by. Have a good full moon, and let your friends know about IHP. See you.